So it's middle of December, and they haven't announced anything about the new Sailor Moon, which is supposed to start next month, so they're probably just going to pull a Beyonce in 2 weeks. It'll be just as magical. So a friend of mine rebageled this picture on Tumblr the other day, and you can thank that for getting me back into the mood to talking about this kind of stuff, and appreciate how hard this is for me, because my brain is currently living in Middle Earth right now, because I saw the new Hobbit the other day, and okay, that's for another video though. Alright, so total disclaimer, the first time that I saw stars was about a little more than a year ago, so for about a decade all I had to go on for stars was the manga. And I knew about the extreme differences between the Super S and the anime and the stars in the anime, and all of that got changed and it all like affected how the stars anime played out, and it was just a really big clusterfuck in my brain space and I couldn't separate the two, so it took me a long time to just, you know, suck it up and actually watch it. And I don't have as much of a problem with the Stars anime now as I did then. It's still a pretty big difference that's hard to get over, but the absolute biggest issue that I have is Sailor Moon is the only one who gets the Eternal uniform. And I have a lot of reasons for having a problem with this, but for the most part it's because she's apparently just super powerful, and yet her guardians don't get the power-up. These are the very women who are expected to, you know, save her life and protect her and guard her constantly, and yet they only have their super forms. They're nowhere near as powerful as she is, when really they should probably be just as powerful, if not slightly more powerful than her. And this is a problem that I have throughout the entire series, you know, all from classic through to the end, that, you know, Sailor Moon is the most powerful, even though she's the one that needs to be protected based on the fact that, you know, the whole reason the others exist is to protect her. But this is an entirely new level of being bothered by it. So this image brought this back to the forefront of my thinking process, and it's mostly because Chibiusa is in her super form. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not, but the impression that Super S gave us is that Usagi and Chibiusa needed to be together in order to transform. And I mean, Chibiusa was needed to call the Deus Ex Pegasus so Sailor Moon could defeat the bad guy of the day. Like, they were a team. You could not have one without the other, because it was, you know, you needed the match set to have it work. So how is Chibiusa in her super form, but Sailor Moon is in her eternal form? And I know, Chibiusa, like, you know, disappeared halfway through, actually not even half, 6 episodes in, Chibiusa wasn't even a factor anymore. But she still went back to the 30th century, and then what happened? Did she just become Sailor Moon then? Like, there's so many questions about what is going on and why this decision was made and how it doesn't make sense canonically. I mean, and for that matter, the power-up that Sailor Moon had to go from Super Sailor Moon to Eternal Sailor Moon happened the exact same way in both the manga and the anime. Everybody had to give her their powers so she could transform. I mean, it was shown that having an incomplete set meant that she couldn't sustain the eternal form for very long, but once you added the power of Mamoru and Chibiusa into the mix, then she was able to keep having the sustained form. It happened in both things. That's how it worked. So why is it that giving her all of their powers didn't mean that they suddenly were able to achieve their greatness inside and they could also level up? I suspect it's because in the anime canon, Sailor Moon was given everybody's powers at the end of the S season to transform from Sailor Moon to Super Sailor Moon when Holy Grail got eaten by Mistress 9, and the people running the show might have decided that since the anime canon has already said that giving people all of your powers does not equal you also getting a new power, they might have just thrown it out the window. So apparently, just going along with that theme, we just get to completely disregard a costume change for, I guess, a good reason. And I know that a lot of people are happy about this decision because they think the Eternal uniforms are ugly, but I'm of the opposite opinion. Obviously. For one thing, it takes away what we've been striving for since day one, a unified team. This, more than anything else, is showing that we are a unified force. We all have one mind about our one purpose to, you know, save the world and prepare it for Sailor Moon to become queen. I mean, in the manga, when the actual Holy Grail appears, like the real, true Holy Grail, the Holy Chalice, whatever you want to classify it as, someone says something to the effect of, It's the Holy Grail, the symbol of our unity, what we've always strived for. Now, taking that away, you only have cause for more division between the two groups of the inners and the outers. There is enough tension between them that we don't need to, add more to it. We should just be taking it away and having more room for friendships and amazing, everybody loves each other moments. If you had fixed that, we would have had way more opportunity to have more screen time with the outers in that final season. There's more bonding time, and we have more opportunities for it to be completely heart-wrenching when everybody finally dies in the end. I mean, not that some of those deaths weren't horrible to begin with, Kyle looking at you, Haruka and Michiru, but it would have just added more pain to it and made it, better. And ultimately, that would have made the ending better when everybody comes back to life, everybody's gone, everybody's back, yay, it's all good now. Another aspect that people have a lot of issue with in the Eternal uniforms is their overall sameness, and I can agree that is a drawback to it when you take away the individual quirks of the girls' personalities that went into their uniforms. I mean, take the shoes for instance. Pluto and Sailor Moon, Sailor Chibi Moon, and Sailor Mercury all have the same default knee-high standard boots. Nothing flashy, everything's just kind of practical and good. I mean, Sailor Moon because her form didn't originally exist, and possibly because maybe giving her heels would have caused more klutz attacks than usual. Chibi Moon obviously has the same style boot because she is her mother's successor. Pluto doesn't need any flashy footwear when she spends most of her time in the fourth dimension, and for Mercury, they're just practical. Venus, Mars, and Neptune all have classic heels that reflect their overt femininity and their individual values on that femininity. Venus and Neptune are both fairly active soldiers, which is why I suspect they have ribbons tying their shoes to their feet. The only difference is the amount of ribbon, and Neptune's kind of has the air of being a ballet dancer's shoe, and I suspect that is a reflection of her interest in the arts. Mars only has simple heels, but they are taller and slimmer than Neptune's or Venus's, and I'm pretty sure that's just a reflection of her "fuck you if you don't think I can run these stilettos" attitude. She actually references her heels in a lot of her pre-battle speeches, so that really shows what she thinks about them and how she values what they say about her. She is actually hell in high heels. Jupiter and Uranus have similar boots as well. They're feminine yet practical and a slight masculine undertone to them. Uranus has a lower heel that is more suitable for running, and all the straps on them are kind of reflective of Haruka's motorcycle boots, while Jupiter's tight-fitting ankle booties are way more feminine and reflect her desire to be more feminine. I mean, just look at how popular that style is today. As for Saturn, I really want a time machine so I can go back and see if Naoko's choice of footwear for her was kind of a reflection of late 80s, early 90s goth and punk movements. I mean, as the harbinger of death and destruction, it's kind of an obvious choice to have her in the low heel, knee-high lace-up boots, but this is all in retrospection for me, so I actually have no idea what went into that choice. In the overall uniforms, there's some mild differences, more in the manga than in the anime. Mars had her mother's necklace, as well as there is a stylized version of it in her belt. Jupiter's tiara had the antenna that she uses to call lightning, as well as her flower hurricane belt. Venus's Love Me chain was used as a belt as well, and Mercury had a lack of sleeves, which was interesting because her power is mostly ice. It might be a reflection of how Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, so she needed a little bit less, clothing in that area. Sailor Moon also had her hair braids right off the bat as well, whereas in the anime we had to wait for her super form for them to appear. Chibi Moon, however, gained hers fairly early in the anime, after Sailor Moon achieved Messiah status with the Holy Grail. Pluto originally had a belt of keys that she wore in the fourth dimension, but after she was reincarnated, she lost that and only retained her sleeveless look. Saturn's image in both is actually the same, and Neptune's only difference is that she has little suns for earrings instead of whatever she has in the anime. I think they're just studs. And Uranus's only difference is that in the manga she had 2 earrings, while in the anime she only had 1 hoop in her left ear to signify that she was a lesbian, because that was an actual thing in the 90s. But that's the other really irritating thing about the anime. The uniforms were already almost identical, with the only differences really being in earrings and shoes. I mean, 4 of the chokers had decorations, but by the time we got to the super uniform, everybody had something on their necklace, so it was still identical. I mean, from that point, to make the leap in the final season to have everybody in the same uniform, that would have made character model sheets so much easier. I mean, you already slashed the animation budget by making Sailor Moon's wings be fake plastic things that you made jokes about rather than real ones. Why not put that money to some good use, like, new reusable transformation stock footage? I will be eternally bitter about this. Pun intended. And I'm just really hoping that if we get that far in the new anime, that we get to see some animated Eternal uniforms, because I really like them. I know not everybody does, but they're kind of some of my favorite things. So I'm sorry about the lack of video last week. As you can kind of tell from my voice, I haven't been feeling that great, and moving twice is really kind of stressful, so I just kind of needed a weekend to not do anything. So since next week is Christmas and the week after that is New Year's, I think I'm gonna take the rest of this month off because, you know, holidays and stuff. You'll still see me doing other videos, but for the time being, we're just gonna put a hiatus on Sailor Says, and I will see you guys in 2014 with a discussion about the Sailor crystals. Okay, see you then. Bye.